Clara CJ, Jensen loved the freedom of the open road. As a long-haul truck driver, she had seen every corner of the country, from the sun-baked deserts of Arizona to the snow-capped peaks of the Rockies. Her rig, a sleek, custom-painted semi, was her home away from home, and her two German shepherds, Duke and Rex, were her constant companions. Duke and Rex weren't just pets. They were highly trained military K9s, retired from service, and now living the good life on the road with CJ. Their training made them the perfect partners for a woman who often found herself in remote areas, far from help if things went south. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, CJ pulled into a dusty truck stop on the edge of a small Nevada town. She was tired, her muscles aching from hours behind the wheel, but she needed to refuel and grab a quick bite before hitting the road again. As she stepped out of her truck, she noticed a group of bikers gathered near the diner. They were loud, their laughter carrying across the parking lot, and CJ could feel their eyes on her as she walked toward the building. She ignored them, focusing on the task at hand, but the tension in the air was palpable. Inside the diner, CJ ordered a coffee and a sandwich, keeping to herself. But as she sat at the counter, the bikers filed in, their heavy boots clomping on the worn linoleum floor. They took a booth near the door, their voices rising as they joked and jeered. One of them, a burly man with a shaved head and a leather vest adorned with patches, caught CJ's eye. He smirked, raising his beer bottle in a mock toast. "Hey, sweetheart, you lost? This ain't no place for a lady." CJ ignored him, focusing on her food, but the biker wasn't deterred. He slid out of the booth and sauntered over, his friends watching with amusement. "What's a pretty thing like you doing out here all alone?" he asked, his voice dripping with false concern. "I'm not alone," CJ replied, her tone calm but firm. "And I don't need any company." The biker laughed, leaning in closer. "Oh, I think you do. Why don't you come join us? We'll show you a good time." CJ's patience was wearing thin. She stood, her eyes locking onto the bikers. "Back off," she said, her voice low and steady. "I'm not interested." The biker's smile faded, replaced by a sneer. "You think you're tough, huh? Let's see how tough you are when you're outnumbered." Before CJ could respond, the diner's door swung open, and Duke and Rex trotted in, their ears perked and eyes alert. The bikers froze, their bravado faltering as the two massive dogs positioned themselves between CJ and the gang. "These are my partners," CJ said, her voice cold. "And they don't take kindly to people messing with me." The biker leader hesitated, his eyes darting between CJ and the dogs. "They're just dogs," he muttered, though his voice lacked conviction. CJ gave a sharp whistle, and Duke and Rex immediately dropped into a defensive stance, their teeth bared and muscles coiled. The bikers took a step back, their bravado evaporating in the face of the K9s' disciplined aggression. "Last chance," CJ said, her voice like steel. "Walk away, or my boys will show you why they were the best in the business." The biker leader glanced at his friends, who were already edging toward the door. With a muttered curse, he turned and followed them out. The diner's door slamming shut behind them, the bikers roared off into the night. CJ let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. She knelt down, scratching Duke and Rex behind their ears. "Good boys," she murmured. "You always have my back." The diner's owner, an elderly man with a kind face, approached her. "You okay, miss?" he asked, his voice filled with concern. CJ nodded, giving him a small smile. "I'm fine. Thanks for letting the dogs in." The man chuckled. "After what I just saw, I think they deserve a steak dinner. On the house." CJ laughed, the tension finally easing from her shoulders. "They'd like that." As CJ climbed back into her truck, Duke and Rex settling into their usual spots, she felt a renewed sense of confidence. The road could be dangerous, but she knew she could handle whatever came her way, especially with her loyal K9s by her side. She pulled out of the truck stop, the headlights cutting through the darkness as she merged onto the highway. The open road stretched out before her, endless and full of possibilities. And as the miles rolled by, CJ couldn't help but smile. She was a warrior of the road, and with Duke and Rex at her side, there was nothing she couldn't face. Word of the encounter spread quickly among the trucking community, and CJ, Duke, and Rex became something of a legend. Truckers would swap stories about the fearless woman and her military K9s, who had faced down a biker gang and come out on top. For CJ, it was just another day on the road. But for those who heard the tale, it was a reminder that even in the most remote corners of the country, there were still heroes, some with 4 legs and a wagging tail.